Thank you so much for staying with us. It's Breakfast Central on a Monday morning. What's happening in the world of sports? Who's smashing records? Onye joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Onye.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Osa.
Good morning, Onye. Good to see you.
Same here.
Seems it was a very busy weekend for, of course, African athletes. Go ahead and share with us.
Yes, a very busy weekend for African athletes, but one particular one was at the top of the story there, and he did smash a record. Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge shattered his own marathon world record on Sunday. He won the Berlin race with a time of 2 hours, 1:09 seconds to shave up a minute and his previous world best set in Germany capital 4 years ago. Now, the 37-year-old, who has now won 15 of his 17 career marathons, including 2 Olympic triumphs and 10 major titles, was in a class of his own, setting a blistering pace along the flat inner city course in an overcast day to cement his status as the greatest ever marathon runner. Only a handful of runners could keep up with his pace. He had a sub-3 minute kilometer split times in the early stages, along with a group of pacemakers. The Kenyan, who retained his Olympic title at the Tokyo Olympic Games last year, had fallen short of his own mark by just over a minute at the Tokyo Marathon in March. But he was not to be denied in Berlin when he picked the title there, smashing his own world record. Congratulations to Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge, and very sure that the celebration continues over there in Kenya because he had to prepare so very much for this marathon, and now he has done it running faster than his own world record. But let's move away from that, take you to what Egypt are planning. Egypt are planning to apply for a bid to host the 2036 Olympic Games. The sport minister, Ashraf Sobi, did say during a reception with IOC President Thomas Bach in Cairo. If Egypt becomes successful with this bid, it means that Egypt will become the first African or Arab nation to host the Olympics. An Egyptian official announced earlier in the month that Egypt, Greece and Saudi Arabia were in talks to jointly host the 2030 World Cup. Egypt staged the 2019 African Cup of Nations as well as last year's Handball World Championship during the COVID-19 pandemic, so they feel that they can run the runs come 2036. A statement issued by the Egyptian cabinet quoted Thomas Bach saying Egypt's sport infrastructure was capable of hosting the event. The Summer Olympics will be held in Paris for 2024, followed by Las Vegas in 2028 and Brisbane, Australia in 2032. So what will happen for 2036? Will Egypt become the first African side to ever host an Olympic game? Let's wait and see if they win with that bid. Moving away from that, let's take you to soccer, this time on the sand, would say beach soccer. As African champions, Senegal got their COSAFA Beach Soccer Championship Group A campaign off to a positive start after they beat defending champions Mozambique 5-4 in a thriller Durban, South Africa Beach Arena on Sunday. Now, but they were given a mighty scare by Mozambique, who clawed their way from a 5-2 down to set up an intense final minute. Now, of course, the other match, the other Group A, saw Seychelles going up 3-2, a success against the host nation, South Africa, in another intriguing clash. So, Egypt were also given a scare by Mauritius in the opening game in Group B, but eventually they triumphed 6-3, having one stage been drawn at 3-3. So finally, for the games played in the COSAFA Beach Soccer, was Uganda, who got a campaign off in a perfect start with a hard-fought 4-2 victory against their East African rival, that is Tanzania. So the teams will go again today as they got a game to play to know who will become the COSAFA Beach Soccer champion for 2022. Now, if we look at the fixtures, we know that South Africa will go again. The defending champions, Mozambique, will go again today, and we can't wait to see Senegal, who also are the African champions for the African Cup of Nations, the Beach Soccer African Cup of Nations. They will also be in action today. Now, away from that, an update with a player who had gone through an injury spell coming from the Women's African Cup of Nations, but she's back again and she could not just return without making a mark. It is all about Asisato Shuala. She was on the score sheet as Barcelona trashed Villarreal 4-1 in the La Liga Femenina. So it was Marple Lyon who started the scoring at the 26th minute, slamming home a free kick from around 25 yards out. But Oshuala doubled the lead in the 48th minute with a sublime chip from outside the penalty box. So Barcelona are now top of the table due to their superior goal difference, having won both of the matches so far this season. She cannot stop scoring. she must have to register her name. It is all about the 5-time Player of the Year, African Player of the Year, Asisat Oshoala, who picked up a goal, registered a goal after a long injury spell. So Joe Osa, you can see that she must have to make a mark, blow her trumpet herself.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I'm 100% always excited whenever she's either scoring or winning awards or just breaking barriers at Barcelona. That she is one of Africa's biggest football stars.
But there are questions about what the performance she puts up whenever she plays for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. She would not go with that scoring mojo. But whenever she's done in the Barcelona jersey, you see another Asisat Oshoala.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing the supply and the support that she gets at Barcelona is definitely different from what she gets with the Super Falcons. You know, it's not the same caliber of footballers on both teams.
I absolutely agree with Osage. I mean, a tree cannot make a forest. So also with Asisat Oshoala, she cannot make the entire national team. However, I think she needs the support that she gets. It behoves on the coach, the Nigerian coach, to take a look at what she gets when she plays for Barcelona and see how he can replicate a similar instance. Possibly she needs to be fed appropriately from the wings or the flanks. And the midfield as well, are they really attacking? Because like they say, the best defense is attack. But that's what you have in Barcelona. That's why you have a scoring goals. But I mean, there's also another case that you want to get injured for a national team where you can be abandoned.
But just play first, score the goals first.
Absolutely. But of course, you know, just to quickly mention, Asisat Oshoala is not the only one who has poor spells with the national team. Some of the biggest footballers in the world, you know, at the club level are phenomenal, but when they get to play for their national team, it's not the same thing. Mostly, and I think it's the same reason, the supply and the structure that they have in their team that they play with week in, week out is not the same thing that they would, you know, get when they play with for their country once, you know, in a while. It doesn't happen that often.
But there's only one player that can break that jinx. You can't talk about that. Then mention the name of Cristiano Ronaldo. He's the same for club side, and he's also the same for Portugal. So
is Lionel Messi like that too?
Oh.
I'm just asking, you know.
But anyway, there's only one goal.
But anyway, before you go, don't forget, I saw this story here and I was going to ask, Paul Pogba coming out to say, yes, he approached a coach, Babalawo, native doctor, to actually help African children. What do you make out of that story?
Paul Pogba only had to do voodoo to protect himself. He doesn't want injuries. So you can't take away voodoo with football. They go in tandem. So Paul Pogba, being the early player who has said, I need protection away from injury and not any other thing, but away from injury, not for the children, Joe.
But does this, you know, create a conversation about the rules with regards to football? Are people allowed to use voodoo if there's anything like that?
Pogba has not broken any law. He has not broken any
He hasn't broken any
rule.
football laws, you know, any sporting laws.
Because
I get that.
It's his personal problem. So that is how he knows how to deal with his personal problem, is personal to him and not concerned with any national team or any club side. When he came to clear the air, he was the one who came out with the announcement that he had to go see a witch doctor. So for him to come out with that, to say, I had to protect myself away from injuries. I do not want to have to go through a long spell of injury. To protect myself, I need to be covered spiritually.
Permit me, I have a question, my lord. Where is Paul Pogba at the moment? Is he injured or is not injured?
He is not injured, but with the whole controversies about his brother, family issues, he had to be allowed to go settle those. Of course, the coach of the side, Dijon, had to allow him settle those personal problems, family problems.
Okay, I'm still going to add to that your statement, Sha. But I know he's injured somewhere.
All right.
Because he's going for his operation.
So you want to tell me that the voodoo did not work? Joe, you want to say the voodoo did not work?
I don't think it works, though.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I know if we continue this conversation, we're not going to leave here, by the way. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure here.